Hi, welcome to our presentation covering Windows XP End of Life. This is for XYZ Company Upgrade Proposal, and it's by JT Myers, Glenda Tessman, Nathan Drennan, and myself, Danny Smith. Let's get started. Windows Operating System's current landscape as of June 2013 shows that many users are still using Windows XP. In fact, a whopping 44.37% of them. That's nearly half of the user base, but I imagine that has improved a bit since, and many home users are still using Windows XP. Currently, XYZ Corporation has roughly 1,000 endpoints still running Windows XP, which makes up approximately 35% of our total endpoints. So other organizations that are still using Windows XP, farmers still using Windows XP in its document processing center um, due to software that runs on XP exclusively. Farmers is working to rectify this with upgrading their software to work within Windows 7. Peter's water utilities are also using Windows XP. Forbes magazine reports 75% actually. Smaller businesses are still being affected and running XP due to the cost of upgrading. Um, Smaller businesses have much more trouble upgrading as the cost is far more than just an operating system, but also upgrading their software to be compatible with the new operating system. Um, TechEd 2014, uh, a North American conference with 100 different businesses, had a poll conducted by Adaptiva that showed 53% of the 100 companies admitted to still running Windows XP operating systems within their environment. And out of the 53%, 29% of these businesses stated that it was because of software incompatibility. End of support for Windows XP is probably marked on every malicious hacker's calendar. Why, you ask? Imagine after support ends and Microsoft stops releasing security updates for Windows XP. This would be the perfect time for a malicious hacker to unleash a zero-day exploit that they have yet to use, which would mean Microsoft nor any other security vendor would have defense for this. This The attacker then builds a malicious website that serves as a watering hole, which otherwise known as a website serves malware to unsuspecting guests. And as they visit, their system is analyzed, and depending on the operating system, delivers a payload attack in hopes to gain system level access, which would mean any Windows XP user who visits would be infected with the zero-day attack. And the only defense they would have would be their antivirus that may or may not stop the attack. Most likely not. After this zero day is discovered in the wild, the only way this vulnerability can be defended from is through antivirus. And due to Microsoft no longer releasing security updates, that would be the only means of protection. Any system running Windows XP would remain vulnerable, leaving home and businesses vulnerable and left to deal with mitigating their own risk. Tim Raines, Chief Security Advisor for Microsoft, predicts that this will happen, and through many different infection types, such as worms, viruses, and ransomware. Speaking of ransomware, we have seen a new breed of ransomware recently called CryptoLocker that encrypts your hard drive and prompts you to pay for the encryption key. So just imagine a zero-day exploit that only way of stopping that would be to have an antivirus that can detect that. Sounds pretty bad. Now there are some tips for users to make sure they're using, they're able to have some protection while running Windows XP. Using an antivirus is really the only thing you can do at this point. There's quite a few other measures to take, but even right now, antivirus could become ineffective because vendors may end support eventually. So this could be a problem in the future. Cost of upgrading. The cost of upgrading consists of several factors. First, the operating system itself must be licensed, and this upgrade will cost $100 per machine. Microsoft does offer volume discounts, but they begin at 2,400 machines for this discount. The most costly portion of the upgrade will be replacing and retraining on new software that is compatible with the new operating system. These costs are entirely dependent on the specific applications needed. The last piece of the cost puzzle is new hardware. While some computers can simply be upgraded, many older computers will not meet the minimum hardware needs for Windows 7 or 8. Requirements to upgrade. The minimum system requirements for Windows 7 and Windows 8 are the same. Now, while the minimum requirements set by Microsoft are not difficult to reach, Tony Bradley from PC World insists that they are not sufficient to get useful performance from Windows 7 or 8. He recommends at least a dual-core CPU, 4 GB of RAM, and 500 GB of hard drive space. Meeting these requirements is simplest when purchasing a new computer, rather than upgrading old ones. Replacing the older computers also avoids the potential for issues with the other legacy components in the PCs, such as power supplies and hard drives, which have notoriously short lives. Since Microsoft has already ended the support of Windows XP over a year ago, the timeline itself can be stretched to fit the organization's needs. The timeline to upgrade all depends on the specific scenario the company has. Depends on how many machines, what custom software they have, and what specific requirements they need on the new operating system. All this plays into part of how long it will take and what the timeline will be. Ensuring application readiness is a part of ensuring that the business continues to operate as normal after the migration to a different operating system. In order to carry out this entire migration process efficiently, the following steps is recommended for a business. Identify all applications being utilized currently within the infrastructure. Review application functions to eliminate unused software prior to migration. Assess compatibility with a target operating system. Test migration on a few pilot systems to iron out any huge breaking bugs. Plan migration, and then implement the migration. Implementation of upgrade. After configuring and testing all facets of a system image, it can be deployed depending on the organization and their current setup, as the implementation of the upgrade all depends if they have a mixture of virtual and physical desktops, or one or the other. If virtualization is being utilized, the new image can be deployed via a virtualization server to the thin clients within the organization for use. However, organizations that have workstations that do not utilize virtualization may prefer a light or zero-touch strategy over a high-touch strategy. These are terms coined by Microsoft that describe the levels of automation when it comes to deploying the Windows operating system workstations. A light touch strategy is a strategy aimed to require a limited interaction during deployment. A zero-touch strategy is essentially implied by the name, as it requires no interaction during deployment. This process is fully automated by using Microsoft System Center 2012 Configuration Manager. Some organizations that feel they may need help from Microsoft in the migration process may wish to utilize the Springboard Series Tour, which is a collection of technical resources, tools, and guidance. Microsoft's Springboard Series has a section for Windows 10, Windows 8.1, and Windows 7, and the best methods to migrate from an older operating system to a preferred newer one. This 5-step series of guides offers IT professionals, organizations, and companies everything they need to explore, plan, deploy, manage, and support their Windows environment before, during, and after the migration. Following the ITIL process with a change this big can be a little intimidating, but ITIL exists to validate an organization hits each important step of the process to ensure the migration goes as smooth as possible with little to no interruptions or missteps. From a top-down view, there are 5 distinct volumes of the ITIL framework that allows any organization to hit on all the key points regarding any sort of service that they provide. The steps are strategy, design, transition, operation, and continual improvement service. The service transition process will be crucial to this project, as it ensures that a change service is transitioned into production with proper support. This ITIL stage includes transition planning and support, change management, service asset and configuration management, release and deployment management, and knowledge management. Since the proposed change is considered high impact, a change proposal will be prepared so that the necessary funds can be authorized and approved. Also, a change advisory board will be assembled in order to evaluate, plan, and manage the change process. In conclusion, Windows XP support ends April 8th, 2014. So, with our proposal, we have provided ample justification for XYZ company to consider upgrading from Windows XP to a newer Windows operating system. As highlighted, we have covered the security vulnerabilities. Technology bottlenecks are also an issue for keeping Windows XP and the older hardware that it runs on. In addition, there'll be no support unless we pay additional cost. Now, during our project, the ITIL framework has served our team for an excellent guide to frame our project from. We have a good foundation to build from using the ITIL concepts for upgrading to a newer operating system. The upgrade will be costly, but the alternative is definitely far more impacting. The long-term return on investment outweighs the short-term savings. So, upgrading to a newer Windows operating system is vital for our organization's success and our continued relevance in the industry. Thank you.